Part 35. I Can See the Laws of Things. Author, Yitiao Xuanhuan. Chapter 341. Forest. Hearing this name, the woman in red was slightly startled at first, and quickly searched for it in her mind. But no matter how she searched in her mind, she couldn't find any memory of this name. A name I've never heard of. But he actually possesses such tyrannical strength. It should be a powerful person from an earlier era. Quickly dispelling the thoughts in her mind, the woman in red stretched out a hand towards Lin En, with a smile as gentle and moving as the spring breeze on her face, and said in a slightly sweet tone, "My name is Evian. They are the human race of the Xuanhuan era." Lin raised his eyebrows slightly. Xuanhuan era. It sounds like it belongs to the era of the human race. Interesting. And at this time, Evian spoke again. "Lin, thank you for saving us. Do you have anything to do next?" When Evian asked this question, bursts of anticipation appeared in Evian's soft eyes as she looked at Lin En. Lin En shook his head gently. "No." Hearing Lin En's answer, Evian's face showed a hint of joy, and she hurriedly said, "Then are you interested in returning to our tribe with us? My father will definitely thank you very much when the time comes." For this man who took action and saved himself and others from a huge crisis, Evian had already begun to yearn for him in his heart. She wanted to invite Lin En to the Xuanhuan tribe, partly to thank Lin En for his life-saving grace. On the other hand, even she herself had no idea where it came from, and she subconsciously wanted to stay with Lin En. At this time, Lin En's eyes also looked at Evian's eyes full of expectation. Going to a human tribe in the old era is actually a very good choice. His purpose of entering the earth this time is to find out what kind of situation the earth is in now. Compared with dealing with beings of other races, dealing with the human race of the same species is obviously a more suitable choice. After thinking of this, Lin En nodded gently to Evian, raised a faint smile on his face and said, "Can." Evian fell into joy, and a faint blush appeared on her face. Clatter! 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 She stepped quickly and walked forward. "Mr. Lin, please come with me." Lin En followed Evian and began to advance towards the Yanhuang tribe. And just a short while later, the dozen or so humans who had been staying with Evian all returned to normal. They quickly followed Lin En and Evian and started their journey home. The road to the Xuanhuan tribe has become safer than ever. Once the demons under the Void Lord come to embarrass them, Lin En will cut it out with one sword. None of those demons can survive under Lin's sword. Lin En did not use the power of space laws to shorten the time it took to travel. He didn't want to expose too much of his strength at this time, and during this journey, he could once again witness the changes of the earth with his own eyes. Along the way, the earth has indeed undergone great changes. Regardless of the area of land or ocean, there is a gap between heaven and earth compared to 3 years ago. More crises have appeared in various mountains and oceans, and the monsters within them have become more numerous and stronger. After about an hour of rushing, Evian, which had been flying at the front, finally stopped. She turned around, smiled gently at Lin En, and said, 100 miles further, we are the Xuanhuan tribe." When Lin En heard this, he looked hundreds of miles away. But at this glance, his brows furrowed. What seems to have happened there? 100 miles away from here, there was a powerful force that was constantly surging, and there were faint noises that reached Lin En's ears. But only Lin can feel all this. "You say? What? Evian, who had a smile on her face, suddenly froze on the spot. She subconsciously turned around and looked at the Xuanhuan tribe 100 miles away. Suddenly, a strong uneasiness emerged in her heart, and she once again thought of the words spoken by the leader of the group of demons earlier. Whoosh! Thinking of this, Evian started on her way again. This time her speed was maximized, much faster than before. Lin En and others did not waste time and rushed towards the Xuanhuan tribe just as quickly. When Lin En and others approached the Xuanhuan tribe infinitely, they saw that the border of the Xuanhuan tribe was surrounded by a huge demon army. A large number of humans, surrounded by this demon army, clenched their weapons. However, no conflict broke out for the time being. Whether it was the eyes of these humans or demons, they all raised their heads and looked into the sky at this moment. At this time, there were two figures fighting in the sky. One of them is a demon holding a blood-red bone sword in his hand and a pair of bone wings waving behind him, while the other is a man wearing a yellow robe and holding a simple long sword. There were already wounds flowing with blood on this man's body. Evian glanced at the man for the first time, and a hint of sadness emerged in her eyes. "Father! Father! Zheng!" The long sword and broadsword struck together, and all the surrounding clouds instantly dissipated, and the birds flying in the sky were directly killed by the shock. The next moment, the man and the devil separated and faced each other far away in the sky. The blood and bone demon lord looked at Yizhan, with a cruel smile on his face, and he looked up to the sky and roared. "Pathetic humans, stop struggling in vain. Your human race's fifth emperor, Emperor Lin, has completely offended the Lord of the Void. The Lord of the Void has issued an order to obliterate your human race. After wiping out all the human races in this world, Lord Void Lord will take action and kill Emperor Lin again. You'd better remember that the demise of your species is entirely due to that Emperor Lin." GGG. The blood-bone demon lord laughed wantonly, and the two bone wings behind it also flapped. Yizhan, who was standing opposite it, once again raised the somewhat damaged long sword in his hand. The tip of the sword was pointed straight at the blood and bone demon lord, and he said with a serious face, "That's nonsense. I can see the laws of things." Author, Yitiao Xianyue. Chapter 342. The Void Monarch is just afraid of the power of our human emperor. He was so angry that he vented his anger on other humans. Sooner or later, you, the so-called Void Monarch, will be killed by Emperor Lin. Even if we all die here today, we can't blame Emperor Lin. If you want to blame someone, you can only blame your own lack of strength. As he said this, Yizhan raised his head and looked at the huge Dharma image of Lin En that was still clearly visible on the earth. Although Yizhan had never seen Lin En in person, he felt proud from the bottom of his heart when Lin En was called the fifth monarch by all the giant crocodiles. In this last era, all human beings have become a community of shared destiny. When Lin En, a person who can stand shoulder to shoulder with the Void Monarch, the Immortals, and others, appeared in the human race. This is a blessing for all human beings. Even in the face of the current situation, they still won't resent the conflict between Lin En and the Void Lord, which made the Void Lord choose to do this. Instead, they will only complain that their own strength is too weak to survive in this doomsday that is destined to face many disasters. These humans have all experienced the collapse of the world. When they chose to enter sleep in the face of that collapse, they were already prepared to face the current situation. In that case, then you humans will die. The blood and bone demon lord felt more and more unhappy when listening to Yizhan's words. It couldn't stand that a human who was about to die was still so fearless. At the same time, Lin En, who was standing not far from the Xuanhuan tribe, was also looking at the sky. He also heard what Yizhan said. On the face that had rarely shown any emotion, the corners of his mouth couldn't help but slowly raised an arc, and a touch of appreciation appeared in his purple eyes. Yun's father is very good. Human beings, a community of shared destiny. Now it seems that this may be the best approach. At this moment, the wings behind the blood-bone demon lord began to flap again, and waves of blood-colored hurricanes blew up, gradually rendering the sky a bloody color. Whoosh! Whoosh! It moved forward quickly. The bone knife in its hand was also raised high, and it chopped down fiercely towards Yizhan, who was getting closer and closer. Yi Zhan's hand holding the long sword couldn't stop shaking slightly because of the injuries all over his body. But there was no fear in his eyes, and the long sword attacked the Blood-Bone Demon Lord's big knife. Ka! 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 The next moment, the long sword in Yi Zhan's hand was directly shattered, and the long sword turned into countless fragments and fell from the air to the bottom. The Xuanhuan people below looked at Yi Zhan, who was at a disadvantage, and their eyes were covered with a layer of grey mist. Even Lord Yi Zhan was defeated. It seems that we have no choice but to fight to the death. I didn't expect that we didn't die in the collapse of the world, but died in the hands of these ugly demons. Fight. Kill one and you'll win. Kill two and you'll win. At the same time, the Blood and Bone Demon Lord came to Yi Zhan, and the big knife stained with countless blood was raised high to the sky again. Go to hell, human. Your flesh and blood will become the nutrients of my beloved knife. The moment the voice fell, the Blood and Bone Demon Lord swung the big knife and chopped it down fiercely. And at this time, Lin An's figure appeared in front of Yi Zhan. The power of the law of power instantly covered one of Lin An's fists. He raised his fist and punched the big knife that was chopped down. Bang! A violent noise appeared, and the whole world shook violently, and cracks were cut on the ground. Several huge holes appeared in the sky. The big knife broke into two pieces, and the blood covering the blade exploded and dispersed, and was quickly annihilated by the huge impact of the fist. And the cracks were spreading rapidly. The Blood-Bone Demon Lord was stunned. He looked at the big knife that he held tightly in his hand, which had become no different from a scrapped product. Lin An, who still raised his fist and pointed it straight at him. The eyes that originally exuded crazy killing intent suddenly became blank and stunned. Buzz. Even in his mind, there was a buzzing sound, and it became a mess. The bone wings that had been waving behind him stopped directly. My, big baby. Broken. Who is this human? It was just a punch. He actually had such destructive power? How is this possible? Even Yi Zhan's several full-strength slashes just now could not destroy this big knife. The Blood-Bone Demon Lord was a little bit unable to accept this huge blow that happened in front of him. But Lin An did not give the Blood-Bone Demon Lord time to react. He raised his hand again. At this time, the Blood-Bone Demon Lord, who felt a strong sense of uneasiness, immediately recovered from the shock. It flapped its wings hurriedly and fled to the back. At the same time, he asked with a fearful tone. You. Who are you? The human who could smash his proud sword with one punch was definitely not an ordinary person. Lin An looked at the Blood-Bone Demon Lord with cold eyes, and said without any emotional fluctuations. The one who killed you. The next moment, Lin An's figure disappeared in the void. When he appeared again, he had already appeared behind the Blood-Bone Demon Lord. Swish! Lin An's arm was raised suddenly, and the whole body of the Blood-Bone Demon Lord was torn apart by Lin An's single hand. The blood was scattered across the sky, and the heart-wrenching wailing echoed in the whole sky. The Blood-Bone Demon Lord looked at Lin An, and in his eyes, there was only a sense of fear that seemed to have reached the extreme. Blood was flowing in his eyes, mouth, ears, and other places. Looking at Lin An, who looked like he had just dealt with a piece of garbage, the Blood-Bone Demon Lord suddenly thought of a terrible possibility in his heart. Could it be, he is the legendary Emperor Lin? But Emperor Lin, how dare he enter the earth? Thinking of this, the Blood-Bone Demon Lord became more and more certain of his guess. He used all his remaining strength and said in a tone full of surprise. You are Lin. But before he finished speaking, the remaining consciousness of the Blood-Bone Demon Lord completely dissipated at this moment. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I can see the laws of things. Author, Yi Xuanhuan. Chapter 343. Dead, dead. The blood and bone demon lord died like this. Oh my god, what the hell happened? The notorious blood and bone demon king. It was torn apart with one hand. On the ground, the people of the Xuanhuan tribe couldn't help but lost their voices after seeing Lin An tearing the blood bone demon king to death with one hand. Yi Zhan held the shattered sword in his hand and looked at Lin An with wide eyes. These eyes no longer had the calmness of the past, but were filled with intense disbelief. Hucka! Hucka hucka! Even Yi Zhan's breathing became countless times heavier than before. Even when he was facing the situation of being killed just now, he was not as nervous and panicked as he was now. This man's strength. So strong. A moment. It's just a moment. The blood and bone demon lord is so powerful. He was actually killed. Even in this age of competition for hegemony. The one who can easily kill the blood and bone demon lord. There are only a handful of them. Yi Zhan and blood bone demon lord are both one of the giant crocodiles of the old era. And at this moment, Evian, who had barely reacted, hurriedly came into the air. She stood next to her father Yi Zhan, bowed deeply to Lin An who was flying towards them, and said, "Mr. Lin, thank you. Not only did you save me before, still saving my father now." Lin An just glanced at Evian lightly and said expressionlessly, "Let's talk about it later. The war is not over yet." After saying that, Lin An took out the white sword and appeared directly on the ground. He waved the white sword and killed the demons surrounding the Xuanhuan tribe. Yi Zhan looked down. Lin An, who would take the lives of hundreds of void demons every time he struck out with a sword, asked Evian in a very solemn tone. "Yuner, who is the senior?" In Yi Zhan's heart, he already regarded Lin An, who was much stronger than him, as his senior. Evian's eyes were also constantly moving following Lin An's figure. At the same time, she replied to Evian. "This senior's name is Lin. He should be a newly born strong man from the human race. When we came back, we also encountered an attack from the demons under the Lord of the Void. Senior Lin rescued us when he was passing by. Then I invited Senior Lin to come to our tribe, and he came with me." Yi Zhan looked at Evian and couldn't help but secretly rejoiced in his heart. Thanks to the senior. Otherwise, Yuner may be in bad luck. 10 seconds later, the white sword waving in Lin An's hand stopped. Not a single one of the void demons surrounding the Xuanhuan tribe was left, and they all died under Lin An's sword. But the white sword in Lin An's hand still maintained a pure white appearance, and not even a drop of blood fell on the spotless sword body. At this moment, the people of the Xuanhuan tribe all looked at Lin An, and everyone's eyes were already filled with excitement. The look he looked at Lin was like looking at the savior. "I didn't expect that we could survive under the pressure of this huge army. Everything is thanks to the senior who was brought back by Miss Evian. This senior's strength is so terrifying." Yi Zhan floated in the air, looking at Lin An with a dull expression. After a full minute passed, he finally returned to normal. Gilug. After swallowing a mouthful of saliva hard into his stomach, Yi Zhan left the air and appeared in front of Lin An. The moment he appeared, Yi Zhan cupped his fists and bowed directly to Lin An. "Thank you, senior. Draw your sword to help our clan in times of crisis. The Xuanhuan tribe will never forget it." Lin An looked at Yi Zhan, whose face was full of sincere gratitude, and a plain smile appeared on his face that had become a little cold due to the killing. He waved his hand gently and said, "It doesn't matter. We are all human." Whether it was rescuing Ayun or rescuing Yi Zhan and others, it was indeed an easy matter for Lin An. He didn't even need to use all his strength to easily break the difficulties faced by Evian Yazan and others. Yi Zhan lifted his bent waist, and there was a little more recognition in his eyes when he looked at Lin An. Obviously Lin An's answer just now really touched his heart. Although the tone is very plain, it contains huge power. "Senior, Do you have anything to do next? Yi Zhan looked at Lin En and asked in a solemn tone. Lin En's attention was also attracted. He raised his eyebrows slightly, and then asked. What's wrong? What's the matter? Soon, Yi Zhan answered. Senior, as you can see. Now all human beings are in a very difficult situation because of the Void Lord. There is no way for human beings in every era to avoid the clutches of the Void Lord. So after some consultation, we made a decision. From now on, all humans from all eras must unite together. Under the condition that we cannot contact Emperor Lin outside the world and seek his help. We can only unite together. That is our only chance to survive from the clutches of the Void Lord. Now many tribes have begun to set off for the meeting point. Our Xuanhuan tribe will also set off to the meeting point next. When he said this, Yi Zhan stopped, and a hint of expectation appeared in his eyes when he looked at Lin En. Senior Lin, are you interested in going there with us? Just after Yi Zhan asked this question, Yi Yun and others looked at Lin En at this moment. Lin En looked at Yi Zhan and others, and fell into thinking in an instant. His purpose of coming to this earth was very clear, that is, to know what the current situation of the earth is like. Going to explore by himself or learning from others are both feasible ways. And when he saw the people of the Xuanhuan tribe, Lin En had already cherished their talents. Although the strength of these people is far behind his. But if compared with those people in Zhizhu, they are much stronger. Yun alone has reached the realm of demigod, and her father is at a higher level. If all these humans are subdued, the current situation of Zhizhu, which is the weakest, will be greatly improved. I can see the laws of things. Author, Yi Xuanhuan. Chapter 344. Although Lin En didn't know much about the current Earth, he was even more clueless about the human race that survived the old times. But just now, when he came here and saw these humans, he could clearly feel that the strength of these humans, even the lowest one, was at the level of a national-level god of law. Even in the current Zhizhu domain, apart from the two armies that Lin En personally trained. There are also a few people whose strength can reach the level of a national-level god of law. Moreover, the national-level god of law in these Zhizhu domains have achieved such achievements after a long period of cultivation. But now among the human race in the old times on this earth, the lowest one is also at the level of a national-level god of law. There are so many masters in the Xuanhuan tribe alone. Not to mention the other human tribes in the old times. If all these tribes are united, the number of strong people will only become more. Thinking of this, Lin En looked straight at Yi Zhan, who kept a calm expression and nodded gently. I'll go with you. Yi Yun, who had been looking at Lin En with expectation, quickly showed a touch of joy in her beautiful eyes after hearing Lin En's affirmative answer. Thump. Thump. The beating and frequency of her heart were uncontrollably faster, and the face that was 90% similar to the woman in Lin En's dream also climbed up a touch of ruddy. Yi Yun deliberately lowered her voice and said happily. That's great. Senior Lin wants to go together. No need to separate from him. Alas. Strange. Why would there be such a strange idea? Who? At the same time, Yi Zhan also let out a long breath. He quickly took a few steps and walked to the front of Lin En. He clasped his fists to Lin En again and said. Thank you, Senior Lin. If Senior Lin goes with us, I will be more confident. But Lin En just nodded slightly to Yi Zhan and didn't say much. The other humans of the Xuanhuan tribe all focused their attention on Lin En the moment Yi Zhan began to ask about him. At this moment, when they knew that Lin En would go to the agreed place with them, strong joy appeared on their faces, and they couldn't help but say. Great. Now our safety is more guaranteed. Senior Lin is so powerful. As long as we don't encounter too many enemies, we can definitely reach the agreed place. In the midst of this heated discussion, Yi Zhan had already invited Lin En to walk in the front together. An hour later, the people of the Xuanhuan tribe also received Yi Zhan's order and began to pack up the things they wanted to carry. They knew how to give up and only took the most important things. After everyone arrived, Lin En and all the people of the Xuanhuan tribe left the Xuanhuan tribe station and started to set off for the agreed place. Everyone flew quickly in the sky. Lin En and Yi Zhan flew at the front, and they were still talking while flying. Most of the time, Lin En asked Yi Zhan what the current situation of the world was like. As Lin En and others moved forward for longer and longer, Lin En learned more and more from Yi Zhan. For example, now in the universe, when fighting with the Void Lord's men, the four powerful auras felt belong to the four great monarchs of the earth. The one who dominates the east of the earth, the Void Palace, the master of the Void Lord. The one who dominates the west of the earth, the Immortal Palace, the master of the immortal. The one who dominates the south of the earth, the court of destiny, the ruler of the god of destiny. The one who dominates the north of the earth, the court of God, the ruler of the priest. As for Lin En, he is called the ruler of the Zhu domain who dominates the entire universe. Now on the earth, only the middle position is a chaotic place that no one controls. Many races that do not belong to the four monarchs are fighting for this place. At the same time, the four monarchs are also eyeing this central position, but none of them dare to take the lead to dominate here. And the promised land of the human race is also located in the middle position, avoiding the place under the control of the four monarchs. After climbing over mountains and crossing plains, Lin En, Yi Zhan and others moved forward smoothly. It was not until they had moved forward for half a day that such silence was broken. Lin En and others moved forward to a valley, landed on the ground, and prepared to take a rest. But at this time, a voice came into the ears of Lin En and others. "Brother Yazan, is that you?" When Yazan heard the voice, he looked up at the place where the voice came from, and Lin En also looked at it. The person who appeared in front of Lin En and others was a human. But this human was very short and his skin was a little dark. "You are Wang Chui of the dwarf tribe." The moment he saw this person, Yazan knew who the person was. Wang Chui nodded heavily. "Yes, it's me." Duh. 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 Then, he hurriedly walked to Yi Zhan, stretched out his two petite hands, and held one of Yi Zhan's hands tightly. "I didn't expect to meet you here, it's great." Yi Zhan was a little happy to see his fellow tribesmen now, and he smiled and said, "What a coincidence. Is the dwarf tribe where brother Wang Chui is also going to the agreed place?" Wang Chui immediately answered, "Yes, that's right." After the two exchanged a few pleasantries, Wang Chui got down to business. "Brother Yi Zhan, since we are all going to the agreed place, why don't we form a team together?" After saying that, Wang Chui looked straight at Yi Zhan, and he really hoped to go to the agreed place with Yi Zhan and others. But he didn't expect that Yi Zhan didn't answer directly, but turned around and looked at Lin En. At that moment, Wang Chui's heart was filled with doubts. The next moment, Yi Zhan lowered his head slightly and said to Lin En, "Senior Lin, regarding Wang Chui's proposal, what do you think?" Lin En glanced at Wang Chui calmly and replied calmly, "Okay." After getting Lin En's answer, Yi Zhan turned around and looked at Wang Chui again, and slowly said, "Since Senior Lin said so, then our Xuanhuan tribe will move forward with your dwarf tribe. I can see the laws of things." Author, Yi Tiao Xianyue. Chapter 345. Wang Chui had no idea what was happening in front of him. He should have been excited because Yi Zhan agreed to let the Xuanhuan tribe and the dwarf tribe move forward together. But at this moment, he looked dazed and stunned. Wang Chui's two small eyes were wide open, and his side passed Yi Zhan and looked at Lin En who was standing not far behind Yi Zhan. Who is he? Yi Zhan, the patriarch of the Xuanhuan tribe. When deciding to do something, he actually had to ask for other people's opinions first. Among the entire human race, Yi Zhan is one of the top ones. He even doubted whether he had seen it wrong. The patriarch of the Xuanhuan tribe actually had to act according to the will of other humans one day. And he seemed to be willing to do it. Even if the Void Lord was here, Yi Zhan would never show this look of willingly bowing his head. While Wang Chui was stunned, Yi Zhan's eyes stayed on Wang Chui. He looked at Wang Chui, who was obviously not in good condition. He couldn't help but frowned, and felt a little unhappy because Wang Chui ignored him. This was Wang Chui's invitation, but he didn't respond at this moment. Anyone would have some opinions. So even Yi Zhan's voice was unhappy and he said, "Brother Wang Chui, do you want to regret it?" At this moment, Wang Chui suddenly woke up from his astonishment. He quickly raised his head and looked at Yi Zhan in front of him with a strange expression. "Sorry, Brother Yazan, I was distracted just now. It's my fault." After patiently expressing his apology, Wang Chui saw that Yazan's face had returned to normal, and he spoke again. "Brother Yazan, can you come with me? You and I will bring all the people from the dwarf tribe here." Yazan nodded gently and replied, "Okay." He was not worried at all that the Xuanhuan tribe would be in great danger if he was not here. All this was because of the existence of Lin An in their Xuanhuan tribe. After a while, Yazan and Wang Chui left here. At this time, Yayun secretly walked to Lin An's side, and her eyes were filled with a smile like the spring sunshine. Looking at Lin An's resolute face that had experienced countless vicissitudes, he spoke in a very gentle tone. "It seems that Father trusts you very much. Even the entire Xuanhuan tribe has unknowingly returned to your leadership. I have never seen that Father would actually do such a thing." When saying this, Yayun looked at Lin An with a strong sense of admiration. At the same time, Lin An's eyes also looked at Yayun, but his face was still calm, and he smiled and said, "Your father is a very good ruler. The reason he did this is nothing more than not wanting his people to face any danger." Lin An had already seen through everything, but he was not disgusted by it. In Yayun's eyes, admiration grew stronger and stronger. "If you propose to become the chief of Xuanhuan tribe now, my father, he will definitely agree." After a slight smile, Lin An spoke again. "The chief of Xuanhuan tribe? I'm not interested. He, Lin En, is the ruler of Zhuzhou, so how could he care about the position of a small chief?" And because of Lin En's indifferent look, his status in Yayun's mind has become much higher. At the same time, Wang Chui and Yi Zhan have left the deployment site of Xuanhuan tribe for a certain distance. After arriving here, Wang Chui raised his head again and looked at Yi Zhan, asking with a very curious tone, "Brother Yi Zhan, who is the senior Lin you asked just now? I have never heard of a powerful person named Lin in the Xuanhuan tribe." Wang Chui has a certain degree of understanding of the Xuanhuan tribe, and he has some impression of those more powerful beings. But in his mind, he has no impression of the powerful person named Lin. As Yi Zhan walked forward, he turned his head and looked at Wang Chui, and answered, "Senior Lin is not from our Xuanhuan tribe. I don't know where he came from. Not long ago, when the Xuanhuan tribe was about to be destroyed by the Blood and Bone Demon Lord, my daughter Yunar brought Senior Lin to the Xuanhuan tribe. Thanks to Senior Lin's generosity, our Xuanhuan tribe survived the destruction. So do you understand? Why did I ask Senior Lin for his opinion when you proposed to go to the agreed place together?" Wang Chui listened to Yi Zhan's words without missing a word. His eyes widened, filled with strong shock. Is that the case? His strength is so strong? Even the leader of the Xuanhuan tribe, Yi Zhan, is far inferior to him? I can't even imagine. How strong is this Senior Lin? After learning the truth, Wang Zui fell into silence. He and Yi Zhan just moved forward together. Soon they arrived at where the dwarf tribe was. What they didn't notice was that there was a demon in a dense forest not far from the dwarf tribe. There are exactly 6 eyes on this demon's face. At this time, these 6 eyes are watching the location of the dwarf tribe. I thought that the only harvest this time would be the dwarf tribe. But I didn't expect that there would be an unexpected harvest. After these 2 tribes merge, let's destroy them together. The 6-eyed demon lord had a ferocious smile on his face and said in a mocking tone. Its 6 eyes give him unique investigative capabilities. These 6 eyes will not be discovered at all when they peek at beings whose strength is close to their own. It continued to peek at many tribes, and at the same time, it also spoke to the fellow demons not far away, the Earth Demon Lord. GGG. We can destroy 2 human tribes at once this time. Lord Void Lord will definitely be very happy. The Earth Demon Lord's body is made of rock and soil, and there are streams of magma surging on his body. Human. Must be exterminated. When he yelled these words, the magma on the Earth Demon Lord's body surged faster, and even the surrounding space became hot. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I can see the laws of things. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 346. At the same time, Yizhan had already entered the dwarf tribe. After a brief discussion, Yizhan and Wang Chui led the dwarfs of the dwarf tribe and quickly rushed to the place where the Xuanhuan tribe was. The 6-eyed demon lord naturally saw this scene. As Yizhan and others hurried faster and faster, the smile on the face of the 6-eyed demon lord became more and more intense. The conspiracy planned in its heart was being realized step by step. Under the deliberate indulgence of the 6-eyed demon lord, Yizhan, Wang Chui and others advanced very smoothly. Soon, they returned to the Xuanhuan tribe. The people of the Xuanhuan tribe expressed a warm welcome to the arrival of the members of the dwarf tribe. They knew very well in their hearts that in this last era, and at the most critical moment, only by holding each other together can they survive in the safest way. After returning to the Xuanhuan tribe, Yizhan immediately walked towards where Lin An was. Senior Lin, there are also some strong people in the dwarf tribe. I believe they will be a good help for us in the next journey. At this moment, Lin An's eyes were also looking at the members of the dwarf tribe. The situation was not much different from what Lin An expected. Most of the members of the dwarf tribe were above the level of magic gods. In terms of overall strength, there was not much difference between the Xuanhuan tribe and the dwarf tribe. He nodded gently and answered. Yeah. Besides that, he didn't say much. At the same time, the 6-eyed demon king who followed Yizhan all the way also saw Yizhan's respectful appearance in front of Lin An. Is this human their leader? Doesn't look good. After saying this, its eyes quickly moved to Lin An. The sight of the 2 eyes was all on Lin An. At this moment, Lin An suddenly turned his head around, and his eyes, which seemed like the ruthless heaven, looked directly across countless layers of space at the location of the 6-eyed demon lord. Is someone spying on me? This kind of evil feeling. Most likely it's the Void Lord's men. Buzz. The moment when Lin An's eyes were staring at him, the 6-eyed demon lord's ears rang with a series of buzzing sounds like thunder. Its 6 eyes that could see through everything instantly lost their glittering luster. Black blood columns flowed out of the 6 eyes. Ah! Ah! Heart-wrenching screams continued to sound from the 6-eyed demon lord's mouth. It raised its hands, covered its eyes, and squatted on the ground with a face full of pain. How is it possible? How is it possible? Why can this human see me? No. Impossible. He could actually feel my gaze. How could humans have such a keen sense? Even the rivals of the Lord Monarch back then could not sense my gaze. The 6-eyed demon lord had never felt this way before. Lin An's gaze shattered the confidence he had built up over the years. The Earth Demon Lord also looked at the six-eyed Demon Lord at this moment. When he saw the six-eyed Demon Lord's performance, he couldn't help but sneer at the corner of his mouth. What a waste! You were actually scared like this. In the heart of the Earth Demon Lord, he looked down on the six-eyed Demon Lord. In his opinion, the six-eyed Demon Lord, whose power was more auxiliary, was not qualified to be called a Demon Lord together with him. Everyone, listen to my order, follow me to attack the human race. The Earth Demon Lord carried the six-eyed Demon Lord on his shoulders and rushed to the Xuanhuan tribe's encampment. The six-eyed Demon King also recovered a little bit, and he removed his hands from his face. But the six mysterious eyes had become a hollow one at this moment, and the sight that could see through everything had completely disappeared. No. We can't go over there. This group of humans is not simple. Listening to the words of the six-eyed Demon King, and seeing the crazy look of the six-eyed Demon King, the Earth Demon King's contempt for the six-eyed Demon King became even stronger. And the anger and disgust on his rock-like face became even stronger, and he directly opened his mouth and shouted. Shut up. You are really embarrassing the monarch. You were scared into the state by a mere human. The Earth Demon King did not listen to the six-eyed Demon King at all, and was still carrying the six-eyed Demon King and the tens of thousands of void demons, moving towards the location of the Xuanhuan tribe. The dwarf tribe, which is a human tribe like the Xuanhuan tribe, easily integrated into it. The two sides get along very well. They are all humans who survived the doomsday collapse and cherish their companions even more. The people of the two tribes are all stationed by a river at this moment, taking a rest. After they have rested enough, they will leave here. Boom. 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 But at this moment, around the place where Lin En and others were stationed, the originally flat ground suddenly changed dramatically. Pieces of ground bulged and quickly gathered together to form an encirclement. Lin En and others were directly surrounded in the middle. In an instant, people were all confused. What happened? The terrain was actually changed. Yi Zhan's brows frowned again, and a bad premonition rose in his heart. He hurriedly shouted. Everyone be careful. Be prepared for battle. At the same time, a large number of demons from the Void Demon clan flapped their wings and landed on top of the land encirclement wall. In their eyes, one by one, there was a raging murderous intent, and they looked at the humans in the encirclement wall with a cruel smile on their faces. After all the demons landed, the Earth Demon Lord slowly appeared in front of Lin En and others with the six-eyed Demon Lord with a terrified face. Lin En also subconsciously raised his head and looked at the Earth Demon Lord and the six-eyed Demon Lord. It looked at the humans on the ground with contempt in its eyes, grinning and saying, Humans, remember the fear of being ruled by our Void Demon clan again. But at the moment it said this, the six-eyed Demon Lord, who was carried on its shoulders, once again felt the familiar gaze that belonged to Lin En. No. Let me leave here. I can see the laws of things. Author, Yitiao Xianyue. Chapter 347. The Earth Demon Lord looked towards the six-eyed Demon Lord with strong fear on his face. It felt increasingly unhappy in its heart. The appearance of the six-eyed Demon Lord, who was clearly afraid of humans, made it feel disgusted from the bottom of its heart. You loser! Shut up! If you continue to talk nonsense like this, then I'll kill you too. The Earth Demon Lord couldn't help but scolded in a low voice. The six-eyed Demon Lord also slowly regained some composure because of the threat from the Earth Demon Lord. Its six eyes that couldn't see anything looked at Lin below based on their feelings. Then the six-eyed Demon Lord directly raised his head and spoke to the Earth Demon Lord. Earth Demon, I'm not kidding you. These humans are weird. If we take action, we will definitely fail. Although the six-eyed Demon Lord's tone was sincere and anxious, the Earth Demon Lord, who was already angered by it, couldn't listen to his words at all. The Earth Demon Lord raised the six-eyed Demon Lord with both hands and threw it into the distance with all his strength. At the same time, it said in an indifferent tone. Since you, the loser, are so scared, then just watch from the side. After these humans are dealt with, I will report everything to the Void Lord truthfully. After saying that, the Earth Demon Lord ignored them. The six-eyed Demon Lord, who was already thousands of meters away from them, instead looked downwards, looking at Lin En and others, who seemed to it to be a group of trapped beasts. The six-eyed Demon Lord's pupils were facing in the direction of the Earth Demon Lord. A trace of disappointment appeared on his face, and he shook his head vigorously. Since you are seeking death, I won't stop you. I don't want to die here like you. Immediately afterwards, the six-eyed Demon Lord quickly left the battlefield from the air before the battle broke out. It didn't stop until it was tens of thousands of meters away, and a sneer appeared on its originally frightened face. Earth Demon, you deserve to be killed. There is something terrifying among those humans. There was no sympathy in its heart, but instead it was filled with ridicule. The devil is like this, evil and without conscience. At the same time as this happened, the people of the Xuanhuan tribe and the dwarf tribe were all ready for battle the moment they were surrounded by demons. Lin En, Yazan Iun, Wang Zui and some talkers from the dwarf tribe are gathering together at the moment to discuss countermeasures. This time the demon is coming with force and has cut off our retreat. We have the only way to fight head-on. It's impossible. Facing so many demons, it's absolutely impossible for us to win. But there is only one choice. People know these words very well in their hearts. Facing the siege of tens of thousands of demons led by the Earth Demon Lord, the only choice they can make is to fight head-on. But there is a huge disparity in the strength of the two sides. Among the void demons, there is an earth demon with extremely difficult abilities. Listening to this intense discussion, an idea came to Wang Chui's mind, and he immediately said, I have an idea. We will divide some of our people to fight against these demons, while the other part will take the opportunity to destroy this siege. When this siege is destroyed, we can look for opportunities to escape from these sieges. When everyone in the dwarf tribe heard what they said, their eyes lit up. Wang Zui is right. This is a great choice. Brother Yizhan, what do you think? Liang, the leader of the dwarf tribe, brought the topic to Yizhan. They are now a united tribe and their opinions must be unified. From the moment the Earth Demon Lord and other demons appeared until now, he has not expressed any opinions. After hearing Liang's question, he looked at Liang. However, he did not open his mouth to answer. Instead, he slowly turned around and moved his eyes to Lin En. In a very respectful tone, he asked Lin En. Senior Lin, what do you think? At this moment, Liang, Wang Zui and others all looked at Lin En. Except for Wang Zui, who already knew Lin En's existence, the eyes of everyone else were filled with surprise and surprise. They did not expect that Yizhan, the leader of the Xuanhuan tribe, would ask for advice on such a major matter. Lin raised his head and glanced briefly at the Earth Demon Lord and the demons standing on the wall formed by the earth. A coldness flashed rapidly from his pupils, and he said in a cold tone, no need to do such troublesome things. Just do it. Just kill all these demons. As soon as Lin En said these words, the whole place suddenly became silent. According to the words of the dwarf tribe, people were all looking at Lin En, and their pupils were filled with extremely rich astonishment. What did he say? Kill all these demons. How is this possible? Even if two more human tribes come together to unite, you can't do such a thing. Liang and other speakers from the dwarf tribe were just about to open their mouths to refute, but before they could say a word, Yizhan took the lead and continued to speak in that extremely respectful tone. Senior Lin, then do as you say. Liang and others were dumbfounded. Yizhan actually agreed without consulting them. They turned their heads and looked at each other. There was only dullness on each other's faces. What's going on? Yazan and this so-called Senior Lin. Are you all so crazy? But at this time, Yi Zhan still ignored Liang and others. His eyes continued to stay on Lin An and asked again. Senior Lin. When are we going to do it? The Xuanhuan tribe obeys your arrangements. Lin An, however, shook his head gently at Yi Zhan. He looked at Yi Zhan with a flat gaze and said slowly. I can do it myself. No need for your help. I don't have much time to waste on these demons. Yi Zhan nodded heavily and said. Okay, I understand. Senior Lin. The people of the dwarf tribe are becoming more and more suspicious. Is joining forces with the Xuanhuan tribe the right choice? They have never seen a decision made by a tribe. It's so easy. Within Lin An's body, the silver sky wheel slowly started turning again. His eyes turned purple and black again. Whoops! Whoops! A strong wind blew, and Lin An's body slowly floated high in the sky. I can see the laws of things. Author, Yi Tiao Xianyue. Chapter 348. Just when Lin An and others came to a conclusion and his body began to leave the ground. It was also the moment when the Earth Demon Lord drove away the six-eyed Demon Lord and looked at the human race trapped by it again. But this time, it only saw Lin An approaching it rapidly. Immediately, the face of the Earth Demon Lord became even more angry. Humans who are looking for death. After saying this, it directly waved its hand and ordered the tens of thousands of void demons it led. Attack! Kill all these human beings! The next moment, the tens of thousands of demons all took action, and they landed from the circle of high walls. At the same time, the people of the Xuanhuan tribe and the dwarf tribe all saw the scene clearly. Immediately, Liang, the patriarch of the dwarf tribe, put his confusion about Lin An in his mind, and replaced it with a huge panic. What was supposed to come finally came. His face immediately became anxious, and he hurriedly said loudly. All members of the dwarf tribe, go all out to fight. After giving this order, Liang once again looked at Yi Zhan. But he saw Yi Zhan, who was standing there like nothing happened, looking up at Lin An who was approaching the Earth Demon Lord in the sky. His face became more and more anxious, and he spoke to Yi Zhan with a hint of anger. Yi Zhan. What are you still standing there for? Hurry up and take your tribe with you. Get ready for the battle. The demons are attacking. After hearing this, Yi Zhan finally focused his attention on Liang again. He looked at Liang calmly, and said with a firm face. Since Senior Lin said so, then I won't act on my own. Liang was speechless for a while after hearing Yi Zhan's answer. He looked at Yi Zhan with deep eyes, and finally could only sigh helplessly. It's crazy. Whatever you want. Without trying to persuade Yi Zhan, Liang led the people of the dwarf tribe to attack the void demons. At the same time, Lin An had floated to a position not far from the Earth Demon Lord. He looked at the Earth Demon Lord's eyes without any unusual fluctuations. And the Earth Demon Lord's eyes have been looking at Lin An since just now. He said with a somewhat cruel tone. Human race. Even if you resist, what's the use? It's just a group of trapped beasts. Lin An looked at the Earth Demon Lord and sneered. Trapped beast. That depends on whether you trapped a beast or something else. The Earth Demon Lord and Lin An stood on the same horizontal line, and the distance between them was only 100 meters. Its two arms, which seemed to be made of rocks, were tightly clasped together at this moment. What's the point of you coming here alone? Look down. Your compatriots will be slaughtered soon. Lin An's expression remained calm, without any change because of the words of the Earth Demon Lord. He just said in a very cold voice. Oh. Really? The next moment, Lin An's purple body began to emit a very mysterious aura. He spoke in a cold voice, like the ruthless way of heaven. Thunder is coming. Boom. 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 The originally peaceful sky was suddenly covered by dark clouds stretching for thousands of miles. Red lightning and thunder were crisscrossing in the dark clouds, and a terrifying power that seemed to be able to split the entire sky into ashes was radiating from the huge dark clouds. The Earth Demon Lord also heard the sound, which made his ears feel the buzzing thunder. He raised his head and looked into the sky. In an instant, a flash of surprise flashed in his pupils, and his brows furrowed. This is the fluctuation of the law of thunder. How is this possible? How can this human possess the law of thunder? The current law of thunder. It should belong to Emperor Lin. He did not think about the possibility of Lin An coming to the earth, because Lin An's discovery was still above the Zhu domain, and once Lin An entered the earth, he would be targeted by the four monarchs. So the probability of Lin An entering the earth is basically infinitely close to zero. At the same time, the red lightning that was brewing in the dark clouds covering the sky finally broke out like a wild horse. One after another, they broke away from the dark clouds and bombarded the ground. Ah! 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 Every time a lightning bolt hits the ground, there will be a burst of shrill screams. The demons that are struck will be completely turned into a pool of powder without any resistance. The members of the dwarf tribe who have just started and are preparing to launch an attack are now standing there with their eyes wide open. Their eyes were filled with disbelief as they looked at the groups of void demons that were struck to death by red lightning in front of them. Whoops! 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 Their breathing became countless times louder without even realizing it. In just a few seconds, hundreds of red lightning bolts fell from the dark clouds. The originally huge number of demons from the Void Demon clan has been reduced by more than half. So scary, thunder and lightning. These demons, actually died like this. Am I dreaming? And at this time, Yi Zhan once again walked up to Liang, the leader of the dwarf tribe, gently raised his hand and patted him on the shoulder. Liang, who was in a dazed state, subconsciously turned his head and looked at Yi Zhan. He obviously had not recovered from the violent shock. Looking at Liang like this, Yi Zhan couldn't help but have a proud smile on his face. He said in a somewhat showy tone. Look. I've already said it. Since Senior Lin has spoken like that, then we don't have to do anything. Just wait for it to be over with peace of mind. While listening to Yi Zhan's proud words, Liang also slowly recovered from his dazed state. The moment he returned to normal, he raised his head and looked at Lin An in the sky. Only now did he fully understand why Yi Zhan respected Lin An so much. Liang couldn't help but sigh. My vision is too short. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I can see the laws of things. Author, Yitiao Xuanhuan. Chapter 349. Boom. Boom. After a few more thunders, the dark clouds that had spread for thousands of miles slowly dissipated. At the same time, the demons that were tens of thousands of meters long and were brought by the Earth Demon Lord were completely killed by Lin An's lightning. The Earth Demon Lord's eyes glared, and he looked down with a very serious look. The magma flowing on his body also became faster because of the extreme anger. Human! How dare you do such a thing? My tens of thousands of demons were slaughtered by you just like that. You are simply courting death. Lin An raised an arc at the corner of his mouth, sneered, and said. Why not? It's just killing some bugs. The Earth Demon Lord clenched his teeth tightly, looked at Lin An viciously, and attacked Lin An without saying anything more. Its body suddenly became much larger, and countless magmas began to burst out from its body. All of them swallowed up Lin An. The sky was reflected in red, and the scorching heat made the air twisted and evaporated. But Lin An still looked at the scorching magma that was overwhelming with that indifferent expression, as if the sky would not change even if it collapsed. It was not until this large mass of magma was infinitely close to him that he slowly stretched out a finger and gently tapped on the magma. Freeze. The next moment, the magma that was originally surging violently stopped in the air in an instant. The rolling heat dissipated directly, and the surrounding air returned to normal. Crunch. Crunch. Layers of ice crystals emerged on the surface of the magma, and the chill that could freeze the soul was emitted. Snowflakes fell from the sky. In a blink of an eye, the magma that was overwhelming the sky was completely frozen. At the same time, layers of ice crystals also appeared on the body of the Earth Demon Lord. In his eyes, there were waves of shock, and his eyes were shaking as if there was an earthquake. Waves of cold sweat dripped from his back, but the moment it dripped, it would be frozen. Boom. 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 In this extremely quiet high sky, the sound of the Earth Demon Lord's heartbeat was clearly visible. No. Impossible. The magma was actually frozen. Even facing the Ice Demon Lord who possessed the law of ice. He absolutely could not do this. And why? There was actually a fluctuation of the law of ice in this ice. How could he possess the law of ice? Obviously the Ice Demon Lord was still alive. It was proud of the magma that could swallow and melt everything. It had never encountered such a powerless situation. Waves of powerlessness constantly occupied his heart. At this time, Lin En was infinitely close to the Earth Demon Lord. He stood in front of the Earth Demon Lord, looking at him without any emotion, and said in a cold voice, "With this kind of strength, you dare to treat the human race as trapped beasts." This sentence, even the Void Lord. I am not qualified to say it. Lin En raised a hand and pressed it on the head of the Earth Demon Lord. The Earth Demon Lord knew that his death was coming, and he suppressed the fear in his heart, and said to Lin En with a trembling voice, "You can't kill me. If you kill me, Lord Void Lord will never let you go." Lin En's palm pressed on the head of the Earth Demon Lord, and the power couldn't help but become a little stronger. "Lord of the Void? Wait for a while. I will kill him." The Lord of the Earth was horrified and asked in a panic, "Who are you?" Lin En glanced at the Lord of the Earth and crushed his head with a slap. At the same time, he whispered, "This question. Wait until the Lord of the Void goes to hell. Ask him again." When the Lord of the Earth was killed, the frozen magma in the sky also dissipated in an instant. Boom. The headless body of the Lord of the Earth fell heavily to the ground. This also completely announced that the attack of the demon was over. And everything was because of Lin En. All the human races fixed their eyes on Lin En floating in the sky. The eyes of Liang, the chief of the dwarf tribe, looking at Lin En were already filled with a strong respect. Senior Lin. So strong. It was so easy to kill the Demon Lord under the Void Lord. Senior Lin's strength is so strong that it is unimaginable. Even if the Void Lord comes, he has the strength to fight him. After killing the Earth Demon Lord, Lin En looked at the six-eyed Demon Lord who was escaping quickly in the distance. There is still a fish that escaped. He took out the white sword and slashed in the direction of the six-eyed Demon Lord. The next moment, the body of the six-eyed Demon Lord who was desperately fleeing was easily cut in two. Its breath of life is constantly disappearing. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! I have clearly said that this group of humans cannot be provoked. But the Earth Demon Lord just didn't listen. Now I will be buried with you if you cause harm. After a few seconds, the six-eyed Demon Lord completely lost the fluctuation of his life breath, and his body fell towards the ground. So far, all the demons under the Lord of the Void who came here this time have died. After Lin landed on the ground, he said, "Let's go after you've rested." Ever since they saw Lin En's strength, no one wanted to resist Lin En's orders. They all respected and admired Lin En from the bottom of their hearts. Yi Zhan and Liang answered in unison. Clear. Senior Lin. The members of the Xuanhuan tribe and the dwarf tribe did not stay long before they once again hurried towards the agreed place. This time forward, the members of the two tribes became more confident. They all knew that there was a being who looked like a god of war in their own team. And at this moment, both Yizhan and Liang regard Lin En as their leader in their hearts. As long as Lin gives an order, they will execute it. Just like this, we kept rushing on the road, and we even merged with several human tribes in the middle. Lin En and others finally arrived at the place where all races agreed to meet. At this time, many human groups have arrived at this promised place. I can see the laws of things. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 350. The agreed place prepared by the human race for joint fighting is located in an extremely secret valley. This promised place is difficult to find. Even among the two human tribes that Lin En belongs to, there are Yizhan, the leader of the Xuanhuan tribe, and Liang, the leader of the dwarf tribe. They also spent a lot of time when they arrived at the promised place. Only then did he enter the entrance of the valley with energy. Lin En came all the way here, and all the races that he met and merged together on the way swarmed here. At the entrance of the valley, many formations were imposed by some powerful formations in the human race. Outside the formation, nothing in this hidden valley can be seen at all. They used this method to ensure that this promised land would not be discovered by the various demon races that are now wandering around the world and are subordinate to the Void Lord. Lin En and others stayed outside this formation. These formations can only be opened from the inside by the caster. These formations are pretty good. It's completely different from the formations in the fairy era. Lin En's eyes were sizing up the layers of formations, and he would lightly nod his head from time to time. Until the end, Lin's eyes slowly closed. Boom. 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 Yizhan looked at the formation and tapped on it gently. The Xuanhuan tribe is here in response to the war. Please inform the people inside to temporarily lift the formation. But after a full minute, there was still no response from the hidden valley. At this moment, all the humans in the formation at the entrance of the valley felt that something was wrong. Yizhan frowned tightly, and he looked at the formation with serious eyes, which blocked the real scene inside, and wrinkles appeared on his forehead. He turned his head and said to Lin behind him. Senior Lin. The current situation. Something's not right. Liang also stood aside, feeling a sense of uneasiness throughout his body. I always feel like something is going to happen. The two of them looked at Lin En, but only saw Lin En with her eyes tightly closed. In this state, Lin En was immersed in realization and did not listen to the words of Yizhan and Liang at all. Without Lin En's leadership for the time being, Yizhan and Liang looked at each other. Although they could not enter the valley for the time being, they had no plans to leave. Because even if they leave, they have nowhere to go. After a few seconds of silence, Yizhan shouted. Tianyu tribe, Black Earth tribe, Baiyun tribe. Heads of the three tribes, come to my place and let's discuss something. The Tianyu tribe, the Black Earth tribe, and the Baiyun tribe are the three tribes that merged into the Xuanhuan tribe and the dwarf tribe along the way. After hearing Yizhan's words, the chiefs of these three tribes walked out of the crowd and quickly came to Yizhan and Lian's side. What's wrong? Chief Xuanhuan. Yizhan pointed at the formation behind him and replied. I just signed up. But, there was no response from inside. I guess, there is a possibility that, something happened in the promised land. Clan leader Tianyu immediately widened his eyes and lost his voice. What? This is impossible. This is the secret realm of our human race. Yizhan was also very helpless, his expression was full of doubts. What do we do now? What suggestions do you have? And just when Yizhan finished saying this, the other tribe leaders began to think. The sky instantly became dark, and countless black shadows were rapidly approaching from the sky towards the valley on the ground. At the same time, Another voice containing powerful power sounded from the sky. Suggestion. I suggest you go die. This voice echoed in the valley. Click. Click. On this thick mountain, cracks appeared instantly, and countless amounts of sand slowly flowed down. When Yi Zhan heard this voice, he immediately raised his head and looked into the sky. And what appeared in his sight was a group of demons of various races, so numerous that they could cover the entire sky. The one at the front of these demons was about 100 meters in size, holding 2 giant axes in his hands. Troll. Yi Zhan recognized this demon immediately. It was one of the 4 demon generals under the Lord of the Void. A troll known for its huge body and strength. The words that could make the mountain collapse just now were shouted from the mouth of this troll. The troll led many demons and kept falling. At the same time, it spoke again. You are the last batch of human race to come here. As long as I catch you and all the humans who have gone to the so-called Promised Land. Then in this era, except for those humans led by that bastard Lin En, the rest of the human race will be completely extinct. At this time, all the humans below suddenly understood something. It turns out that all human beings are united and go to the promised place together. It's just a conspiracy planned by the Void Lord. A conspiracy that can wipe out mankind in one fell swoop. Ha ha ha. The troll couldn't help laughing. Ha 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 ha. The rest of the huge number of demons also laughed together with the troll's laughter. At the same time, Lin En was closing his eyes and feeling the mysterious formations. I also heard these loud noises with very high decibels. His brows couldn't help but frown, and his tightly closed eyes opened at this moment, and a flash of displeasure flashed across his eyes. It's noisy. The next moment, the heavenly roulette in Lin's body began to rotate. The rule of sharpness. The law of wind. The law of fire. The power of the 3 laws surged violently in an instant. He raised one hand and waved lightly at the group of demons in the sky. Immediately afterwards, there was a strong wind in the whole world. Moreover, this strong wind is still carrying fierce flames, a burning strong wind. The wind blew rapidly, and the flames on it moved violently, after incorporating the sharp law. This wind and fire are as sharp as a blade, capable of cutting off everything they touch. Laugh. 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 The demons led by the trolls were directly turned into pieces after being killed by the burning wind blade. The fragments were ignited by the flames and continued a new round of decomposition. In just a few seconds, 1/5 of the members of the demon army were burned and chopped into ashes.